But even after coming out and realizing that I was gay, it became very obvious that in the gay community, when you're a lesbian, there's a lot of women who want to have babies. And even then I was like, okay, well, great. I love women. But am I open to no, the answer was no, I'm not open to the baby. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharday Sellers. I am a 35-year-old single lesbian in Los Angeles, California, and I am child-free by choice. I think this is a perfect time to explain, or not to explain, but to tell you why I have decided to be child-free by choice. I think I've always kind of known. It's kind of the same way I think I've always known I was gay, but I just wasn't settling on it right away. I am the oldest of four. I have a sister who is 10 months younger than me. And I have twin brothers who are 15 years younger than me. I saw my mom through that entire pregnancy. I used to sleep on the floor of her room because she's 6'1", and having twin boys that were almost 7 pounds each. That was a lot. But I saw the way she struggled through that pregnancy, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I ever want to do that. I was also invited to go into the delivery room along with my stepdad at the time. And I got to see my brothers be born, and I was like, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that, but it was really beautiful. I remember for some reason they were born 20 minutes apart, but a Kelly Clarkson song was just in my head. I don't know. It might have been Breakaway. I don't know, but I just kept singing it in my head. Anyway, nothing to do with the story. And then from 15 on until the boys graduated, I felt like a surrogate mom. Yes, I'm talking about parentification. I felt like a surrogate mom in the sense that my mom would go out and make the money and do the things, but I was like the emotional available parent in that way, but also an older sister. So if my brothers weren't feeling well or they had some emotions or things, I felt like it was my duty to go take care of them. At 16 years old, I had a friend come over and we were just talking about the future and life and things like that, as you do when you're 16 and the world looks big and shiny. And I looked at him and I was like, I don't think I can have kids. He was like, wait, what do you mean? And I was like, no. I don't think I want kids. Because when I said I don't think I can have kids, I had a lot of period problems at that time. My menstrual cycle was trying to take me out every month. And so I assumed my body naturally couldn't carry a baby. That was just something I just knew. Both aunts on my mom and dad's side had the same reproductive issues as I do, endometriosis and horrible cramps, and neither of them have kids. So I figured, okay, I can't have them. But it wasn't until I was 25 where I finally found a doctor who was like, okay, let's deal with this ovary thing. Let's deal with what's going on inside your body. And then my periods got better. And she looked at me after that surgery and she was like, so you're going to have to start family planning soon, like as you're getting closer to 30. And I was like, oh, no. So I remember asking a different doctor for a hysterectomy at 25 and they're like, no, you might want to have kids one day. And then later on when I was 32, I asked my now gyno and she broke it down to me. She's like, look, it's not just about having a baby. There's a lot of other things that could go wrong. It's a major surgery. So she was able to convince me out of it. Not in a way that was like, you might want to have kids one day, but more in like, if you don't need to have it, don't do it. It's an elective thing right now. But at that time, I was in the closet. I was in the closet and I was dating men. So I was trying to find any way to not get pregnant. I've been on several different birth controls. I even tried to get the IUD, and I'll tell my full IUD story later. I tried to get the IUD, and they spent a half hour trying to get that thing in me. Turns out I have really small cervix. They used the smallest tool and they couldn't get it in there. So my doctor also was like, so if you ever decide to get pregnant, this is something that will come up too. Cool. It became really very clear that all of the chips were stacked against me to actually naturally give birth. So because I was in the closet and I was trying so many different ways to not get pregnant by a man at all, at first I was like, what is this aversion to not wanting to get pregnant? And now that I'm out, I can say, well, number one, you don't ever want to be around men because you don't like them like that. But even after coming out and realizing that I was gay, it became very obvious that in the gay community, when you're a lesbian, there's a lot of women who want to have babies. And even then I was like, okay, well, great. I love women. But am I open to no, the answer was no, I'm not open to the baby. You're a lesbian. There's a lot of women who want to have babies. And even then I was like, okay, well, great. I love women. But am I open to no, the answer was no, I'm not open to the baby. It became just very crystal clear. It had nothing to do with me not being able to have children. I didn't want kids. I don't want kids. So that journey took me a while. And now I can firmly say, because I am a lesbian, there's no chance I can have a baby outside, by that kind of way. So that was a great reprieve, or that was a great relief. But now I'm just like, yeah, I can't do it. I think about all my mental health struggles and all of my reproductive struggles, just everything I've been through health-wise in my life. And I immediately go, I can't have a kid with that. I can't, as in I really can't. I know a lot of people say, you can never say can't. No, I can say can't, meaning I don't have the tolerance. I don't have the energy. I don't have the mental capacity. And currently I ain't got the funds. So it wasn't a hard thing for me to go, oh yeah, you can have a kid. Because I've never really wanted one. I've done that with my twin brothers. My sister now has a baby. I do enjoy spending time with my niece, but my favorite part is giving her back and not being the parent. So it became really crystal clear to me this year that I was like, oh yeah, you don't have a kid and you're choosing not to do that. You are going to spend the rest of your life without children, and you're very happy with that. Now, marriage is a different episode. I go back and forth on marriage all the time, but the same with kids. I wasn't the one to sit around and think about a wedding or a wedding dress. That just wasn't me. And same thing, for kids, I've never sat around and go, I want a boy and a girl and we would live here. Never. It's never happened. I just assumed, because it's what we do in society, that you get married, you have kids, that was my pathway. But realizing finally that, oh, you don't actually have to do that pathway. You can do whatever you want. You can choose and design your life whatever you want, as long as you have the freedom to. Obviously, there's a conversation to this about healthcare and abortion, and obviously what country you live in, right? That's all very relative and important, and I will dive into that later. But as a person who lives in the state of California in the United States in 2024, I have a big choice to design the life that I want. So for me, realizing, number one, that I could actually be open and gay, that was big. Number two, that I don't have to have a baby if I don't want to, that was big. And number three, that I may not get married, that's actually big, right? So all of these choices that I'm actively making for myself, I didn't know were actual choices. But once I was able to break that society cycle of like, you have to do it this way, and really be my own self and decide, like, I don't really care if people think I'm weird or a spinster for choosing not to have a kid and get married. The whole point of this channel is to get other women like you or to watch this and go, what choices do I have? Do I actually want to make the choice to have kids? Or is that something that I'm feeling like has been always expected and I didn't know there was another option? So by telling stories about me being child-free and how I spend my life, I'm hoping it inspires other people to really, really carefully think about making that decision to have a kid before they have them. Because I'm no way advocating for everyone not to have kids. I'm advocating for people who are 50-50, who are washy about it, to really think, why are you washy about it? You should never be washy about having a child. But I'm also talking to people who don't have kids yet to go, well, have you ever thought about not having them? So this channel is going to cover all of that and a little more. I'm actually really excited to talk to my friends and family who are also child-free by choice, but also to parents who are my family or friends. More specifically, my mother. There will be a time where I interview my own mother, who had me at 25, and as a 35-year-old woman, I don't even know how she did that. It's wild. But I would love to see her perspective of being a mother of four and the struggles and the strife, but also the joyous moments. So I definitely will do that one day. That's a really heavy episode though. So that won't come for a while. This channel really is going to be about showing women an alternative lifestyle to what they've been conditioned to believe their entire lives. And a lot of you are like, a lot of you will be like, that's extreme. That's a conspiracy. I don't think it is. I think the conspiracy is expecting people to do this linear version of life, which is college, marriage, kids. It's something that's been ingrained in us since we were basically born. I mean, we literally give young girls baby dolls to take care of, and easy bake ovens and all these things so they can start getting ready to be a woman in the world. And this channel is really hopefully going to inspire women who don't have kids to really think about, is that something you actually want, or is that something you're expected to do or conditioned to do? And if it's something you really want, that's great. You should have everything you want. If it's something you're 50-50 on, you're going to have to really, if it's something you're 50-50 on, please watch the channel. Please continue to watch the channel, because my whole philosophy as someone who's child-free by choice is that no one should be 50-50 when it comes to having a kid. You better be 100% 10 toes down, because a lot of the answers I get from people who want kids, who are confused about why I don't, it has a lot to do with them as a selfish thing. Like, well, who's going to take care of you when you get older? Well, no one's going to love you the same. Those are all self-centered reasons to have a child, right? Like, the reason to have a kid to me is because you have so much love to give inside of you. You want to give it to someone else, not what they can do for you when they get older. I do want to say, though, this is not the channel or the platform to leave comments about kids, about how they're snot-nosed little brats and things like that. No, I'm taking the focus off of the children. Those are innocent kids. But have I been a victim of calling someone else's kid a bobblehead before? I absolutely have. Didn't like that version myself. Never going to do that again. The focus on this channel is going to be about parenting, and people who probably shouldn't be parents, or why you are a parent, or why you shouldn't be a parent, and things like that. So please don't be talking about children in my comments, because if there's one thing I am outside of being child-free by choice, is I'm actually really protective of kids, which a lot of people don't understand. They think because I don't want kids that I'm somehow a kid hater or I hate women. But it's the protection of kids that's actually really important to me when it comes down to how they grow up, how they're reared, how they're able to express themselves emotionally, or how they're not. All of those things are really important to me, which is why I don't want kids, because I can't provide them with that kind of safety. So no, we're not going to be talking about kids in the comments, and anything like that is going to be blocked. You can focus on parenting, you can focus on your childhood, but let's not bring up people's kids. It's wild. As someone who did it once, I'm never doing it again, I promise. I hope my message of being child-free by choice, because let's also define that a little bit. Child-free is someone who doesn't have kids by choice. We tend to say child-free or child-free by choice, CFC, it's all the same. But being childless is very different. A childless person is someone who had a child and no longer has it through circumstances out of their control, or in their control in very small cases. And we'll go more into that nuance later. But just know this channel is about people who are actively choosing on their own to not have children, right? But I definitely want to bring on a couple of people who are childless and talk about that process, like that, the process of wanting kids, having kids, and then losing kids, which is a lot to me. A lot of people who rush into having kids don't even understand that that's a reality, that your kids can go to school and not come home. That is a reality. I think not everyone, I think most people who have children just imagine this utopian, world where their kid is their best friend and they grow up and they go to college, they have their own kids. And that's just not the way the world is built, unfortunately. So those are things I definitely want to talk about on this channel, but also hopefully open people's eyes to know that just because you had a lovely childhood or you didn't have a lovely childhood doesn't mean they're going to suffer or they're going to excel. It is all a crapshoot unless it comes to their rearing. But again, you can have the best rearing in the world and then things change. So it's all a crapshoot at the end of the day. This channel is going to be about my life as a child-free person, and we're going to talk about all the ups and downs, the peaks and the pitfalls that come with that. Because there's a lot of positives, but there are some negatives too that I do want to share.